I am gonna go back and like get. I feel like I got all the gems, but maybe I missed out on some of them. No, like I've said numerous times, this has been fun. Like it is such a fun gameplay loop. Just the I said it earlier as well, like it kind of gives me a little bit of that Sonic itch, and satisfies that. Just because it's a lot of fast moving, it's a lot of trying to keep in this case Spyro in control. The flame, while there are times where I wish it went just a little bit further, the flame felt good. The levels all there were, apart from a couple that I just struggled at, where things to like get the final like number of gems was a little convoluted. I think the levels were all really well done. I think they were perfect in terms of like size, because if you're going like into a world and coming back out all that time, it feels like something that should have small levels. So there's a part of me that wants to say that like I didn't quite figure it out. I do feel like I did for the most part. I have seen gameplay of it in the past, and like that's kind of how I knew the tree level was gonna be a thing. I didn't figure out, or I thought it was gonna be a completely different way, but I had like a general idea of how some of these levels were gonna be. I really enjoyed how like the collectible nature of this, like finding all the gems, finding all the dragons, getting all the eggs, like all of that felt really good too. So the people who have played Spyro in the past and have really been looking forward to another one, which thankfully just got announced like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember. I'm now excited for that, because I'm excited to play 2 and 3 and then 4 when that comes out. Of the games so far that I think I've played in this whole PlayStation platformer series that I'm doing, now there is a little bit of an asterisk that has to be put on here. This was a remake. Ratchet and Clank was a remake. The other two were PS5 versions of the game, but they were, and it's also on Steam, but still playing it with this. They may have been PS5 versions, but they were still the older game. So I think the ones that I've played so far, I think Spyro's my favorite, and I think Sly's too. Ratchet, I think, is third, and Jak and Daxter is fourth so far. Now, that's not anything to say about the series in general. Obviously, these are the first games of each of the series. And again, I feel like this still plays the same as it did on the PlayStation. But I can't tell that for sure, since I never played it on the PlayStation. It just looks better. So I'm excited. This will be a next week thing, but I'm excited next week to get into Crash. Again, that'll be the Insane Trilogy version of those games. And we'll see how I feel after that. But generally, yes, I love how this game played. Again, I think the only critique I had with it was the a few levels where it was hard to find a spot of gems, or hard to get to. Like, even if I found them, it was just hard to get to. Or like, I think the other part was, if you were like this close to like getting onto a ledge, I felt like I was just jumping wrong. But in the end, I think it was just, it's out of reach. Don't have a ledge like this, have a ledge like this. So like, it's a lot more noticeable of like, oh, there's no way I could get that much more height. I need to postpone those ads. No, I mean, I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but like Spyro and Sonic in my head have, like, they play somewhat similarly in terms of like a 3D Sonic game. And they kind of have a similar attitude to an extent. Like, they both are, they're way too cool for things. Like, Spyro's more of like, kind of thinks of himself as a hero, where I don't think Sonic quite has that. But it's, I like that. Like, I regret sometimes not having a PlayStation when I was younger, that I went for the N64. But in the end, I would also have the same critique of myself if I had a PlayStation, because then I'd be like, oh man, I missed out on like Banjo-Kazooie, all the rare games that are so good on the N64. So it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But now it was a very, very enjoyable game. I can definitely see why people really like it. I'm excited to see the others, 2 and 3. And then again, 4 when that comes out. And then doing the man, this is way longer than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, I want to see if I don't think the gameplay feel is that much different from what I remember seeing for 2 and 3. I think it's just, I want to say same thing, different levels, but kind of that. In which case, if that's the case, awesome. Like, I kind of just, there's some new moves. Okay. There is something to that as well. Like, keeping it simple like this one, where really your 2 moves are glide, charge, fire. Like, keeping it simple like that makes the gameplay, I don't want to say easy, because it, again, it's executing on all of that. But when you start to introduce more, like, yes, then you start to get, okay. I will say, and I know you're not right now, I will just say, don't say what that fix is. I want to be able to see if I can figure it out when I get to that in like I don't know how long. Yeah, I think the big things that I complain about with this one are some of where like the gems are located, and the how close some of the jumps are, even when you're doing it wrong, making you feel like you're just not doing it well enough. But other than that, I don't know if there's any other complaints. Well, I think the bosses are way too easy. Did it really? I mean, it seems like Spyro's older. Like, not much, but it seemed kind of like he was older in the teaser trailer. Like, obviously he's not like full grown like all the dragons that you're saving, but he's still, or it could have just been a completely different, or a different design for him. Like it could just be as easy as that. But holy cow, guys, I know there's a lot of people who probably worked on you have to show the team from previous, but we're approaching like 10 minutes of credits. I can only yap so much. I mean, Will's, like I said, that's Spyro 3, so we're a ways away from that one. I can tell you for sure, like, we're in June now. We're like end of June. There's no way I'm finishing up all of the games in a year, or in like half a year. Especially because, actually, Stranger Than Heaven. I always say Stranger Than Fiction. Stranger Than Heaven, I think, doesn't come out until like early 2027. It says winter, but I think I thought I heard it was like January. Favorite characters in 2 and 3? Hell yeah. So that's not going to interrupt us by doing anything here. But October's still going to, like, we're going to lose the entire month with it. Granted, we lost a good bit of time when Kiwami 3 came out. So we might get through in another entire cycle by the time the end of the year. In other words, we might be able to get to the second games of all of them. It might get close. I might try to do it maybe like the last week of December, if I'm not there, or it depends on how close we are too. But yeah, I think we'll get through. I don't know. I really don't know. Legal team gets its own mention. I mean, there was a number of names there. And technically they're part of, like, the thing that I appreciate about some of these credits is when there are people who are more part of like corporate but still have something to do with the game that they're still mentioned. Like, for example, for me, when I was working on Bombshell and Rise of the Triad, I didn't really have a whole lot to do with the game itself. You could consider me more corporate. But like, I helped out with parts of it. I gave like feedback and everything, and like the only reason why I have a job for those is because of this game. So I felt like I should be in the credits. And in that case, like, it really, to me, is anyone who touches this game should be involved in the credits, even whether or not they are currently part of the company. And I've seen places do that in the past where, oh, they're no longer with the company. It's like, yeah, but they worked on the game, and like, you're using part of what they worked on. Like, they should be part of the credits. Now, that said, again, how long are these credits? And I've done it for all of the games that we've done on stream. I'm letting the credits play. I want everyone to do this. I think the only time I ended up skipping through parts of it was it Shantae? Because I think for each of the DLCs, they basically replayed all of the entirety of the credits. And I'm just like, okay, like, we know who's here. Sorry if there's anyone new. But yeah, it's, do I have to lose my last snooze button on here? Fine. Like, I don't know if we're gonna be, like, at this point, I can't snooze that anymore. Like, there's one of two camps that usually credits run in. Sometimes they're perfect. But sometimes when it comes to me doing this yapping, trying to give you exactly how I feel about them, they will either be extremely short, and in which case I feel rushed, or they're like this, and it's like, again, I can only yap for so much without just repeating myself. What up, Minnie? You just made it for like 15 minutes of credit scroll. Now once this is done, obviously I'm gonna have to go back and make sure that I've got all the gems, because Spyro made it sound like I didn't get everything, and in which case I call bullshit. Yeah, this was the first one. I beat that Ganasty Gnork. Oh, we're just about done. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like, I really did. No sheep were humped. Few Norks, but no sheep. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I'm excited to do more. I can see why everyone loves this game. So yeah, look at all the dev pups. The adventure continues.